Sheriff. Last but not least, we need a sheriff. A sheriff is the most powerful man in the county and can protect the people from the federal or state encroachment. He is elected by we the people and not hired by the state or city. He can deputize everyone in his county if necessary. He is the only lawful law enforcement in a county or state. A sheriff is an officer and must take an oath of office to support and defend the Constitution and post an official bond. That's in the statutes. Everyone hired in this borough is an employee. Must fill out an I-9 form that must be sent to the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C. Now, we're supposed to be a state. Why do we send it off there? By law, no one can be an officer and an employee at the same time, either one or the other. Everyone from the janitor to the mayor of this borough is a corporate employee. In the state statutes, it says there are two types of bonds: a surety bond posted by the government and an official bond to be posted by the officer. And if the official bond is not there, the office becomes vacant immediately. It is a performance bond like a road contractor posts. If the bond is seized for non-performance, the office becomes vacant, or if it's not posted. The borough assembly are supposed to be officers and post an official bond and take an oath, but they are instead fill out an I-9 form as an employee. If you can check this out at the borough building. The building back behind the borough building is, the last I knew, has all the blank I-9 forms, and you can't get one that's filled out by an employee unless he gives you permission. You can check this out at the borough building. Borough Mayor John Williams, when he was still in office, said in the Peninsula Clarion that he said, "We are managing an $80 billion corporation." The borough mayor and the borough assembly are only employees of a municipal corporation. Please go get a blank I-9 form from the borough and read it. It says employee in big bold letters. State troopers are also employees and only make a citizen's arrest, and they're paramilitary. They have military designations such as sergeant, corporal, and so forth. There's a paper in the court in Kenai. Now that used to be, it's gone now, but I have copies at home, describing the duties of the courts. And one of the duties is, quote, to give appearance of justice. Yes, you heard me right, appearance of justice. Don't that make you feel warm and fuzzy and fully protected? The Northwest Ordinance of 1787, written by Thomas Jefferson, was adopted by the Continental Congress under the Articles of Confederation and readopted by Congress under the new Constitution in Book 1, page 50, United States Statutes at Large. It demands that before a state can enter the Union, quote, on equal footing with the original states in all respects whatsoever, the state must be divided into counties. A borough is a fortified town in English law. Alaska entered on equal footing with the other states. Who are the other states? That is why we don't have a sheriff. This state was created for the corporations to rape, rob, and pillage all the natural resources from we the people. Because if we were doing this right, where the land wasn't owned by the people, it would go into a trust fund and be paid out individually to all the people on a monthly or weekly or however basis. And anybody that's homesteaded would get their oil rights and mineral rights and everything, and they could sell them separately. But the government doesn't belong in there. It's not a government. It's a fascist communist government that keeps all the natural resources. In communism, the government owns everything. In fascism, you own it and they control it. The Constitution of the State of Alaska, in Article 12, Section 8, states, quote, residual power. The enumeration of specified powers in this Constitution shall not be construed as limiting the power of the state, unquote. Unlimited powers is either fascism, communism, or Nazism, or a combination of same.
Right there. I want you to just read that again and see why Microphone, thank you. I want you to read that again, Seymour. The federal Constitution has the 10th Amendment, which basically says, and it's violated, it says that the only powers the federal government is supposed to exercise are those that are listed, and they are done in Article 1, Section 8, and I believe there's 17 powers. But read again what our state constitution says. Slowly.
Quote, residual power. The enumeration of specified powers in this Constitution shall not be construed as limiting the powers of the state.
That is the anti-10th Amendment. The 10th Amendment says the government can only exercise those powers that are limited. In our state constitution, it says just because we've listed some powers doesn't mean that that's the only ones we can exercise. So it is saying we reserve the right to do anything we want.
This Constitution is not a Constitution. It doesn't fit any of the examples of a Constitution. It's corporate bylaws only, and not a Constitution. One example is that the original document is rewritten for every so-called amendment. They list a summary of amendments at the back of the Constitution of the state of Alaska, but they don't write out the entire amendment. They rewrite the original document. Now that's a corporate bylaws, not a Constitution. And also unlimited powers is not a Constitution, because the Constitution is to enumerate and limit powers. Originally, there was a Secretary of State, but that was amended to a Lieutenant Governor and was rewritten to reflect that. Except for one place, they could not change it. Also, several articles are not self-implementing in the state constitution, and so they are listed in the Alaska Administrative Code, the AAC. The state constitution is nearly entirely, quote, special and temporary acts, unquote, instead of general law. The statutes are copyrighted by the state of Alaska. Look inside the front cover of the Alaska statutes. Copyrighted laws are private laws. No constitution, but instead corporate bylaws with private copyrighted law. What kind of state is that? Not one of the several states of the United States of America, for sure. We need a new Constitution of Alaska to conform to the principles set down in the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. We need counties, county courts, a county sheriff, etc. One last thing. Look up the difference between a counselor at law, which we are guaranteed in the Bill of Rights, and an attorney at law, who call themselves an esquire, which is a title of nobility that both the United States Constitution outlaws that the United States cannot create, nor any state is forbidden to create a title of nobility. An esquire in English law is above a gentleman and below a knight.